Good evening and bienvenue, my fond fair friends, family, and subscribers. This is your humble narrator, Diomedes Rouge, here to bring you part 12 of What If Issei was the reincarnation of Escanor. Where we last left off, Escanor, as y'all have come to know him as, has reunited with Merlin, and she has brought him to her special plane of purgatory, to their old home where him, her, and their son used to dwell. And where Merlin has been staying on and off throughout the, well, centuries. Well, it's certainly been a while. It's certainly been a while. Escanor, or do you prefer Issei now? Call me what you want to, Merlin. I'm a bit of a mess. Of course, you've just come to realize our son's hatred after so many years. I had to watch it happen. Was it truly impossible to avoid? Was he truly destined for this path? When I was raising him, he was such a kind and loving lad. He would laugh and play. He would smile as big a grin from ear to ear. Did losing me truly break that small man? More than you could ever know, darling. As she cups his face. More than you could ever know. It wasn't your fault. Do you know the specifics about why it happened? No. Not in the slightest. Then allow me to go back. And show you. As she brings out her sacred gear. Sacred treasure. My apologies. As well, physically, they don't move an inch, but mentally, they're brought back hundreds of years, not thousands, hundreds of years into the past. It's a nighttime, and at the Boarhat's Tavern, Meliodas is left back into the demon world because he was too powerful to remain. Elise joined him. Bon and Elaine, well, they went their separate ways after a few decades. They went the separate ways from the Boarhat after a couple of decades. Gother, he liked the place, but his instincts drove him somewhere else. King and Deanne went back to the Fairy King's forest to bring it back to prosperity. leaving only Merlin and Escanor. He tended bar there for a few years, poured damn good drinks, and was happy. During the morning he would leave out and relax while Merlin, well, did what Merlin does. Then the night came where, well, not night. The day came when Escanor was out training in the right before it, say around 10 o'clock, where his power is almost at its peak, a couple hours away. Now, it's been a few decades, and devils have kind of become, well, I wouldn't say commonplace, but they're becoming more well known. The bastard children between demons and humans, as they wander about. A few of them try to make a name for themselves. Figure, oh, the big bad demons couldn't take on these people called the 7 deadly sins. But we're devils, we're stronger than them. In some cases, that's correct. While demons have more stronger physical aspects and such, devils usually have more of a higher amount of magical magical affinity, which in some cases does make them more strong. Well, stronger, not more strong. Does make them stronger than your average demon. Then they heard about this one man, the Lion's Sin of Pride, and where he usually trains in his morning time. They started to approach him very cockily. And yes, I'm making that a word, cockily. I don't give a damn. As they approached him, they, well, basically did the one thing you never do to Escanor. They said, "So, we hear you're the big bastard known as Escanor. The big bad sin. The strongest one out of the bunch, right?" Escanor turns around and with a smile on his face and Rita in his hand, just states, I am the one that stands above all races. Yes, I am Lionson Escanor. Why, do you ask? Said, oh, well, at least they named you properly. That's simple. We're gonna have to kill you. Oh? You think you can kill me? No. That's not how this works, old-timer. Make it easy on yourself. Kneel down. We'll make it quick and painless. Or you could face off against me and my boys. In which case, we don't mind wiping the floor with you slowly and painfully until you expire. At that point, Escanor gets up and cracks his neck slightly. Oh my, you are quite something, aren't you? You want to kill me. Quickly and painlessly, mind you. Why, I must say that is a very kind offer. However, and within a flash, no, less than a flash, with a mere just blink of an eye, he disappears in front of all their gazes. And when one of them opens it back up, the leader, or rather the one that was talking the loudest, was split in twine from head, well, to groin. Like he was nothing more than a loose thread. As Escanor just says, I will not lose to such pathetic beings as you. If you truly think you're capable of killing me, then why don't you prove it? Cruel son. As a miniature sun forms in his hand, and he hurls it towards the other demons to his left. Not demons, devils, to his left. With them still dumbfounded, they don't have time to react as he, well, incinerates the both of them. Then the other two to his right begin to panic and finally start to react. One tries to run away, while the other is more keen on trying to attack him. Call it blind rage, call it fight or flight. Call it wanting to inflict at least a little bit of damage before you go out like a bitch. Either way you want to cut it, he was cut before he could even lay a finger on him. One slash, one horizontal slash is all it took for the devil to be split in twain, leaving only one little cretin flying back. Escanor, well, he didn't take too kindly to this. Cruel son. And he launches yet another small sun at this devil and incinerates him as he walks away. Yet, this particular devil, whether you call it bad luck or the grace of whatever entity he believes in, survives. Granted, surviving is a, well, kosher term. His legs are gone. His right arm is gone. All that's really left is an incinerated torso with a scorched scalp and a very beaten body that can only crawl his way to whatever refuge he can find. The wings, they're burned straight off. Even the bones in them have melted due to such a divine heat. As he crawls slowly but surely until he finds his crew. After several hours, and reports to them what happened. That this lion sin Escanor killed the rest of his group, and that he wishes to die as well, for he cannot withstand the pain he is going through. And so they grant him mercy before moving on. Now granted, when they start their move, it gets to 8 o'clock at night. And Escanor, he is tending to the little one, while Merlin watches over Lancelot during the day, at night, Escanor watches over him, changing him, feeding him, and generally protecting him, while Merlin sits in purgatory, doing whatever research she finds useful. Usually these days it's about, well, how to make the best environment for a growing child. As Escanor suddenly has 5 people barge in. And these people, they aren't people at all. They're devils. Now granted, I do say, I made it seem like little Lancelot was a baby, but he's more of a toddler. 5 years old. You still have to clean, feed, and take care of a toddler. Believe me, I know. And so, these men came walking in and demanded service. Escanor happily obliged, pouring them drinks and presenting them whatever food was available. Usually some bar nuts and such like that. And that's whenever the demon said, "We're looking for the guy who uses that axe," as he points to Holy Axe Rita, sitting above the bar. "Do you happen to know where he is?" Escanor just has a pail of sweat pouring down his face. No, he usually goes away, comes here and drops it off for decorative purposes at night. Oh, that doesn't usually sound like a warrior, especially the one that killed my friends. You sure you don't know where he's at, barkeep? And that's whenever Lancelot says, "Hey, leave my daddy alone." Huh? What'd you say, you little runt? I said, "Leave my daddy alone, you little you big bully." Sorry, I almost made him say a bad word there. Bully. Oh, kid. I take it he's yours. Looks a lot like you. Scrawny, anyways. As the head honcho of the group bends down and picks him up by his skull. "You're braver than your old man, though. You're actually willing to talk back. So what do you say, you little runt? Do you know who that axe belongs to?" Lancelot, who is told to never lie, says, "Yeah, that belongs to my daddy." At this point, I can hear your face palming. But remember, he's 5. And he was taught by both Merlin and Escanor. Merlin wouldn't want her child to lie because it'd be too much of a pain in the ass. And Escanor wouldn't want his child to lie because he's too prideful. And he wouldn't want his child to fall below his standards. And even small Escanor wouldn't want his child to lie because it's wrong. And he does have a moral code. The man quickly turns back to Escanor and says, "Oh, you're awfully scrawny compared to what I heard. But I have a wild guess saying that has to deal with your magic. Let me guess. Used it all up earlier, beating my men, did you?" Well, as he begins to squeeze Lancelot's head. How about when I show you real fun? And how it feels to watch people you love die? That moment, Escanor couldn't take it anymore. He takes a picture of, well, I wouldn't say a picture, a flagon. If you know what that is, good. If you don't, think of it for about a pitcher, but instead of it being glass, it's metal and designed to hold alcohol, especially in ye olden times. Keeps it cooler. As the man was about to say something, he douses all of them in high quality liquor, jumps forward, taking his son out of the devil's hands. And then, with a sudden and very precise snap, calls on whatever little remnant of sunshine he has in the nighttime to set fire to the Boar Hat Tavern. Or rather, those gentlemen inside it. As he quickly runs off through the woods, holding poor Lancelot to his chest, him beginning to tear up and cry, as Escanor begins to worry and begins to hear the flapping of wings soaring through the air as they get closer and closer and closer and closer. He can virtually feel them breathing down his neck when he remembers that Lancelot has the stone that's used to communicate with his mother, that she can be reached through him, but Lancelot's the only one that can use it, because normally Escanor would walk out as soon as dawn would arrive, and then whenever he would wake up, Lancelot would call on his mother. Unfortunately, this simple drawback that was convenient for the time was now quite inconvenient. They never planned to be attacked like this. They figured after all the work they put into this, after all their missions that they've accomplished, after everything that they've worked so hard for, all the blood, sweat, and tears that they shed, that all this would be over. That their life of turmoil, struggle, and hell would be done. Even Merlin took a sigh of relief and became a bit lackadaisical. But it was unfortunately not meant to be, as the group got closer to him and attacked. Start sending magical pulses of energy, lightning, wind, fire throughout the forest, slicing down trees, burning them to a crisp, trying and getting closer to pinpointing Escanor as he ran. He then sat down his child. Listen here, Lance. What is it, Dad? You have to run. But Dad, I can't leave you. Run. Relax, my little man. I have this under control. I'll hold them at bay. That's what a father does for his son. Now run. But Dad, I can't fight with you here. Please run. As he begins to cry. Hello there, my little boy. Hello there, my pride and joy. Don't you worry, don't you fear. Don't you cry, Daddy's here. You are my moon, and you are my stars. And I'll never be away for too long, nor will I ever be too far. As he sang that tune, Lance calmed down, because it was the only thing that ever really calmed him down. Not even Merlin with her spells could make him as calm as that tune would. As he rubbed away his tears and shook his head. I'll run, Dad. I'll get Mom, I'll run. Good. Now go. And Lancelot took off with the speed, as much speed as he could muster. He ran and ran and ran some more. Meanwhile, with Escanor, he turned around and saw the devils that were there, plus 3 more. Quite the sentiment, letting your kid run off. But I don't think that's going to help you out. As he signals for one of them to charge off towards Lance. But then out of the blue, he's grabbed by a large, meaty hand, slamming him back down into the earth. That's quite enough. You've put on one hell of a show, scaring a little boy. But now you'll face me, the lion sin of pride, Escanor. As his shirt begins to rip, as the small necklace he has wrapped around his neck begins to shine. And what might this necklace be? Simple. It's a small golden amulet. The figure on it is a lion with 2 ruby eyes. What was its purpose? Merlin created especially for Escanor, to allow him to call upon his day form at night in extreme circumstances. But it doesn't last long. It doesn't last long at all. And he only has access to up to 5% of his energy with it. But 5% is just more than enough to have this one fight. The devils clash and slash at him, trying to weaken him down. Escanor simply dodges and maneuvers, punching and slamming these poor fools into each other, as the main one watches and sees his movements. Not bad for an old-timer. Escanor gets hit plenty of times. One, he's barely running on any efficiency. His power is at very critical states. With every punch he throws, with every second he stands like this, his energy gets depleted. The percentage goes down. And then there's another thing. In this weakened state, he's being surrounded 8-on-1. Those are rough odds, even for a standard magic knight. And right now, Escanor's got the power of a standard recruit. He does his damnedest. For a good solid minute, he's holding them off. He killed 2 of them by smashing their heads together. The other 2 wound him greatly, causing his blood to pool on the ground. Come to me, holy Axarita, as he calls upon his last resort. The demons feel this immense power flying towards him. One of them tries to stop it, but gets impaled upon the spike, on the back spike of Rita, as it connects with Escanor's hand. Sacred treasure release. Charge and fire! Escanor calls on every bit of solar energy he has, every bit of fire he's able to create, all of the sun's mighty divine energy, focused into one enormous sun. At this point in time, Lance is on the other side of the forest, calling, screaming for his mother. She answers. Lance, what's wrong? Why are you calling at this time of night? It's Dad. He's being attacked. I couldn't do anything. Mom, please help. As Merlin quickly drops everything and begins to get really pissed. She immediately teleports there. But by the time she gets there, it's too late. She sees a bright, glowing light appearing from the other side of the forest. And she knows what's happening. As we cut back to Escanor, he brings down this giant ball of light. Cruel sun! Impacting upon the earth, where those devils stood, and where he is not too far from himself, causing a giant, catastrophic explosion. When everything's said and done, Merlin, with Lancelot in her arms, flies over and sees the remains of 7 devils and 1 poor human corpse, with the holy axe Rita in his hand and a smile on his big dumb mug. She doesn't know whether it was the exhaustion from fighting or whether his own cruel son engulfed too much of his strength, or just engulfed him in too much blast back that he couldn't be protected from in his current state. But she knows he's dead. But she can see a trail where one sodding devil wandered away, where he dragged himself. And she looks around and is easily able to spot the trail of blood and broken branches. Where do you think you're going? The man is immediately stopped, dead in his tracks, as a shadowy mist forms around him. What the hell? Where are you going? Fuck off, lady. Wrong answer. She picks him up in the air and slams him into a tree, and then does so 5 or 6 more times. You killed my husband. I'm going to enjoy breaking you. As she snaps her fingers. And the devil, before he can even say a word, his essence is pulled out of his body and stored within a little glass jar that she puts into her pocket. Dropping the remaining husk on the ground and incinerating it to where there's nothing left but bones. Lancelot begins to cry. He begins to cry feverishly, asking his mother, "When's Dad gonna wake up? Mom? Mom, when's Dad coming back up?" She takes Lancelot back to her home in Purgatory and then explains to him the hard and awful reality of death, and that his father was murdered. Over the years, continuing up, Lancelot, with a belly full of rage and hatred, grows and becomes stronger. At 8 years old, they found out his quirk. Well, not his quirk per se, his magic. Sorry. Got the terminology mixed up due to how similar it is. Found out his magic. And while Escanor gained more power as the day grew longer, Lancelot was the opposite. As the skies grew darker and the moon rose higher, his innate magical and physical abilities would expand to record-breaking heights. As his dad's ability, his dad's magic was known as sunshine, Lancelot decided to call his specialty magic Moon's Glow, and developed his specialty fighting style around it, at first at least. Whenever the dark came, he would use it, covering himself in the shadows of the night, moving around and crushing whatever enemies he saw fit. As devils became more and more prosperous, he would break them. Anytime he could find more of them, he would destroy them. Using his blade, he would carve them up, almost torturously so, taking vengeance out on whatever he could, for he blamed himself for his father's death, but he blamed the devils more. The devils began making whispers of the Night Stalker, the whistling death. For if you ever heard this tune, it was already too late for you if you were a devil. But soon his mother caught on to his misdeeds, and Merlin imprisoned him. Inside purgatory, she basically grounded him until he was 18. Because no matter what she asked, or when she asked, he would always still crave vengeance. He would train his mind and his body. He was never allowed to leave purgatory, but he would always practice inside it. And some would say that was the worst mistake she could have made, because the conditions in purgatory are hellish, to say the least. If you can fight there, you can fight anywhere. Upon his 18th birthday, Merlin hugged him tightly, and she made him promise to not needlessly murder those who haven't done anything. And so, he accepted. He promised he would never needlessly murder. And so he had to come up with a plan. If he couldn't kill them needlessly, he would have to find a need. And what's a better need than extermination of a pest? Because that's all he saw them as at this point. A parasite, feeding off the lifeblood of the innocent, tormenting and stealing souls, making one-sided deals. And so, he became a recluse, hiding in the mountains, studying, even finding his own sacred treasure, or rather I should say, creating it. He called it, well, that's something I'm gonna have to leave out for now. But let's just put it this way. For him, it was the perfect weapon. For in the daytime, it was just a stave. Something meant to augment his magical power. And at nighttime, upon releasing it, it would turn into a sword, fully capable of releasing his full might upon any he saw as an enemy. The young man who was so full of glee was dead. He was killed along with his father. What was left was a shell, a husk, that only knew rage and anger, that only knew the torment that laid within his soul needed to come to an end, whether it come through extermination or through his demise. And that's where I'm going to leave it off here, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you leave a like and comment down below. And hopefully tomorrow, whenever I get back off work, I'll make another episode. And we'll have a climactic event. Hope you enjoyed this time. Farewell. Goodbye. Happy to see you. And see you soon.